Welcome back to our channel, Coin Enthusiasts. Today we're diving into a fascinating chapter of U.S. coinage, the Lincoln Steel penny. You might have heard about this unique penny from 1943, but did you know it holds significant historical importance and collector value? In this video, we'll cover the history of the Lincoln Steel penny and count down the top 4 most valuable ones. Let's jump in. 1943 Lincoln Steel penny. First, let's talk about why the 1943 Lincoln penny was made of steel instead of copper. During World War II, copper was needed for the war effort, particularly for producing ammunition and other essential materials. As a result, the U.S. Mint had to come up with an alternative metal for the penny, and they decided on steel coated with zinc. In 1943, millions of steel pennies were produced across 3 different minting locations: Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver. This change was temporary, and by 1944, the penny returned to its original copper composition. Now, let's zero in on the 1943 Lincoln Steel penny minted in Denver. Out of the total 1943 steel pennies, approximately 217 million came out of the Denver Mint. The D mint mark, located just below the date, identifies these coins. This coin was mass-produced, but that doesn't mean every 1943 steel penny is the same. Variations in condition, mint errors, and other factors can drastically affect the value of the coin today. Like with many coins, error varieties can significantly increase a coin's value. One of the most famous errors for the 1943 steel penny is the double die error. On these coins, you'll see doubling on the date, the mint mark, or on Lincoln's profile. These error coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the doubling and the coin's overall condition. Grading plays a huge role in determining the value of any coin, and the 1943 steel penny is no exception. Coins are typically graded on a scale from poor P1 to mint state Mississippi 70. A well-preserved 1943 Lincoln Steel penny in mint state can fetch between $10 to $50, while circulated examples generally range from 10 cents to a few dollars. However, rare error coins, or those with exceptional features, can go for much more. Unfortunately, as with many valuable coins, fakes exist. Some counterfeiters attempt to pass off altered 1943 copper pennies as steel pennies by plating them with zinc, but with a simple magnet test, you can easily spot a real steel penny. If it's genuine, the magnet will attract it. Another common counterfeit involves altering the date on a 1948 copper penny to make it look like a rare 1943 copper error penny. So always double check before making any purchases. 1943 Lincoln Wheat penny. To understand why the 1943 Lincoln Wheat penny is so famous, we need to go back to the days of World War II. In 1943, the United States was deep in the war effort, and copper was a critical resource used in the production of ammunition and other military supplies. To save copper for the war, the U.S. Mint made a major change. They stopped making pennies from their usual bronze alloy, which contained 95% copper, and instead minted them out of steel coated with zinc. This switch resulted in the creation of the famous 1943 steel penny, a coin that stands out for its silver-like appearance, very different from the copper pennies we're used to seeing. But here's where things get really interesting. While most 1943 pennies were made of steel, a small number were accidentally minted using copper. These error coins were produced when leftover copper planchets from 1942 were mistakenly used to strike a handful of pennies at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. These copper 1943 pennies are incredibly rare. Less than 30 are known to exist, making them some of the most sought-after coins in the world of numismatics. One 1943 copper penny even sold for over $1 million at auction. Now, you're probably wondering how to tell if your 1943 penny is one of these rare copper coins or just a common steel one. Well, it's actually pretty easy. Here are a couple of quick tests you can do at home. First, take a magnet. If your 1943 penny sticks to the magnet, it's made of steel. Steel is magnetic while copper isn't, so if your penny doesn't stick, you might be in luck. Next, check the color. The steel pennies have a silvery appearance, while the copper ones look more like a regular, pre-1943 penny. But be careful, over time, steel pennies can rust or get coated with grime, so make sure you clean them gently to reveal their true color. Let's talk value. A 1943 steel penny in average circulated condition is usually worth between 10 and 50 cents. But if you find one in uncirculated mint condition, its value can jump up to around $10 to $15. However, if you come across one of those rare copper 1943 pennies, that's where things get exciting. Even in poor condition, a genuine copper penny can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. And in mint condition, they've been known to sell for 6 figures or more. 1943 Lincoln Steel penny. To understand the 1943 steel penny, we first need to go back to 1943, during the heart of World War II. The U.S. Mint was facing a major copper shortage because all available copper was being diverted for the war effort used in ammunition, wiring, and other essential wartime materials. As a result, the U.S. Mint made a decision to temporarily switch from copper to steel for pennies. The 1943 pennies were struck from zinc-coated steel at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The 1943 Lincoln Steel penny was produced at the San Francisco Mint, represented by the small S mint mark under the date. The penny was minted using a steel core that was coated with a thin layer of zinc to prevent rust. However, over time, many of these coins have experienced corrosion, which affects their value. Here's a quick breakdown of its composition. 99% steel, coated with 1% zinc. This change in material made the penny lighter and gave it a distinctive silver gray color, very different from the familiar copper Lincoln pennies. Now let's talk condition. Like all coins, the value of a 1943 steel penny depends greatly on its condition. Here's what you need to know. Heavily worn coins, or those with significant rust or corrosion, are typically worth only a few cents to $1. Lightly circulated coins can range from $1 to $3. Uncirculated examples with minimal wear can fetch $5 to $15. Mint state coins, those that have never been in circulation and are pristine, can be worth anywhere from $25 to $100 or more. Mint state coins, especially those graded by professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC, can sell for much higher. In fact, some high-grade specimens have sold at auction for over $1,000. Now, while the 1943 steel penny is interesting, there's an even rarer variation you should be aware of: the 1943 copper penny. Only a handful of these coins exist due to a minting error. They were struck on leftover copper planchets from 1942, and if you happen to find one, it could be worth upwards of $100,000 or more. But remember, these are incredibly rare, and most 1943 pennies you come across will be the common steel ones. 1948 Lincoln wheat penny. First, let's take a quick trip back in time to understand the origins of the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny. These pennies were struck at the San Francisco Mint, which is indicated by the S Mint mark just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. In 1948, the United States was rebuilding post-World War II, and many people were saving money, making it an interesting period for coin circulation. The Lincoln wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, is named for the two wheat stalks on the reverse side of the coin. This design was created by Victor David Brenner and was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, President Abraham Lincoln. What makes the 1948 penny stand out is its slightly lower mintage compared to other mint locations in that same year. So how many of these pennies were made? The San Francisco Mint produced about 81.7 million Lincoln wheat pennies in 1948. While that might sound like a lot, it's actually fewer than the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced that same year. In terms of scarcity, this mintage isn't exceptionally rare, but its lower numbers make it more desirable for collectors looking to complete a full set of wheat pennies. Even though it's not a rare coin, its condition can significantly impact its value. Let's talk about that next. As with any collectible coin, the value of the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny depends heavily on its condition. The better preserved the coin, the higher the grade, and the more it's worth. Coin collectors use a scale called the Sheldon Grading Scale, which ranges from poor P1 to mint state MS70. But let's break it down. Circulated coins, these coins show obvious signs of wear and tear from being used in daily transactions. A 1948 penny in good G4 condition might only be worth around 5 to 10 cents, but in fine F12 condition, it could be worth closer to 15 to 25 cents. Uncirculated coins, these pennies never entered circulation and are much more valuable. An uncirculated 1948 penny in mint state 65 MS65 with full original luster and sharp details can fetch anywhere between $5 to $10, or even higher depending on the market. Red, brown, and red-brown varieties. Coin collectors also differentiate coins by their color. Red pennies, which retain their original coppery red luster, are the most valuable, followed by red, brown, and brown pennies. Now, let's talk about something exciting: errors and varieties. Error coins can sometimes skyrocket in value because of their rarity and unique features. For the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny, there aren't many well-known errors. However, always keep an eye out for die cracks. These happen when the die used to strike the coin develops a crack, creating a raised line on the coin's surface. Off-center strikes. A coin struck off-center can be valuable, especially if it shows a good portion of both sides of the coin. If you happen to find any of these errors, your 1948 penny could be worth a lot more, with some error pennies fetching up to $50 or more, depending on the type and severity of the error. To make sure your 1948 Lincoln wheat penny is the real deal, you'll want to double-check a few things. Date and mint mark. Ensure the date reads 1948 and that there's a small S under the date on the obverse. Weight. A genuine 1948 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If the weight is off, it might be counterfeit or heavily worn. Magnetic test. Since wheat pennies are made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, they should not be magnetic. If your coin sticks to a magnet, it's likely a fake. So what's the market value of a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny today? As we mentioned earlier, circulated examples generally range from 5 cents to 25 cents. However, in uncirculated condition, the value jumps to $5 to $10 or more, especially for higher grade red pennies. Lately, demand for high-quality wheat pennies has been increasing, and many collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins in top condition. If you're lucky enough to find one in mint state or with an error, you could have a valuable coin on your hands. Thanks for watching. Please share my video, link 10 more friends. Thanks.